Hi everyone. I am so excited to finally get to sit down and talk about my knitting with you all. It's been a kind of a really busy couple weeks since we got back from Peru and we went to Disney, and I just haven't really had a chance to film as I've been just getting settled back into like working in my studio and laying out all my plans, and summer teaching's coming up, so I'm trying to like get a head start before all of that rolls out. So I figured it'd be fun to just walk through all the projects I have going on right now, because I didn't even really realize how much there was until I made a list, and then I was making my list and I realized I have around either 9 or 10 projects. So I really like the process of like bullet journaling, but I found like I've tried different methods since I started doing bullet journaling probably like a year ago. And some at times I was doing like the very specific tracking of every single thing I was doing, whether it be like stretching, working out, going to the gym, and like coloring in the day and doing it in a really methodical way. But over time I started to realize it wasn't like sustainable to do that. And so now what I do like with my bullet journal is I have a page where I write down books I want to read. Then I have a page of television shows I want to watch. So that way if like someone throws me a recommendation and I look it up and I'm interested, I can add it to my list. So books, movies, TV, same concept. And then knitting projects, I have dream projects that I don't have yarn for. That's a page in my journal. And then I also have a page which is dream projects that I have yarn for. So these are projects that when I went to the yarn store, maybe I went in with an intention of, okay, this yarn is going to be used for an Oslo hat or a this blanket or whatever it was. That yarn was purchased for a certain project. So I have that listed to kind of keep mindful of like, look at what you have. You have all these projects you want to do still. And so to kind of like be mindful of that, know like I have these really exciting yarns in my stash that I can work from at all times, which is cool to know because I don't want to feel wasteful for what I have. My stash right now is probably about 4 to 5 big, large bins, you know, like the standard Sterlite brand containers, or like the hefty containers. And they could like fit under a bed, so that gives you an idea of their size. And I put all my yarn in there. My goal, long-term goal, I call it an LTG if it's a long-term goal in my bullet journal, is to organize it by yarn weight. I kind of started doing that, but then what would happen is because they're all stacked on each other, I'd have to move one to get to the bottom because they're stacked behind the sofa. And because of that, sometimes they get mixed up. So it'd be nice to just refresh it, put all the fingering weights together, put all the yarns that are used for sweaters together, like my sweater quantities, which I think is mostly together, and then like maybe miscellaneous fingerings like one skein wonders, things like that that I have for socks, because I really do enjoy making socks. So as far as like we're right at the end of March when I'm filming this, it's March 28th, Thursday. So the projects I have for March, I did a really cute layout in my journal. And I like to make the page look nice when I have time. Maybe I'll spend time going in and coloring. Other months, like, they're more simple. Like this was February's, it didn't have that much detail. It's just sometimes nice to put some color on the page. If I don't have time, it's not a priority. But for March, I had the porcelain sweater, so I could show that first. I haven't picked this one up in a really long time, but it is in the Coco Knits bag. So this one, I really enjoyed the process when I started it. It just got put down because I got new shiny things, you know, that I wanted to start. So this is that color work sweater that I've shown in previous podcasts, if you've seen And I really like this. Um, and the yarn is great, and I think it's going to be really cozy. My only concern is like I'm not holding the mohair or fingering weight like with the mohair, so I'm not exactly getting like the gauge could have been a little bit better. But what I do like about it is it's very soft and it's not very tight, so I think it's gonna have a nice drape to it. And when I hold it up, like, yeah, you're getting a little light through it, but it's definitely not sheer. Like, I can wear this on its own with a bra under it. Totally fine. And once it's blocked, I think it's a little bumpy right now because of the tensioning. I think that will smooth out when it's blocked. If not, it just gives it a little more texture. So, yeah, I'm really happy with it. Like the floats on the back look really nice and clean. So this one, it'll get picked up at some point. I'm not really worried about when. It's not like this yarn really is like dying to be something else. Like it was a yarn that I purchased. The gray was the like taupey gray color was something I purchased for the pressed flowers sweater, and I just hated the process of making that. I know it's a very popular Ravelry trending project. The designer does a beautiful job with all her patterns, but for me, mosaic knitting, it wasn't working for the way I process information. So I decided to frog it, and I'm happy I did because now this can be something that I'm excited and enjoying the process of. So I have these like really fun little flower stitch markers that I have in this bag to use for this project. I could probably take this out of here now because they could be used for other projects. So it lives in this cute little bag with my Rhinebeck pin. This is like the Coco Knits craft tote. I love this bag. I have 2 or 3 of them, and they're great because they kind of stack on top of each other and just hold everything. So, I mean, it's almost a shame that I'm not working on this project and this bag is just not getting used, but it's okay. I could always switch it out. I know that a lot of crafters, in order to like feel inspired by whatever they're working on, like to switch their project bags. So it's always something you can do when you're feeling a lack of inspiration for a project. Switching out a project bag might inspire you, or stitch markers, all the fun little things. Then the next thing is the dragon shawl, which is actually in the other room, so I'm not going to grab it. But that one, if you look it up, it's Alexandra Davidoff Dragon Lore is what the pattern is called, and it's really cool. I set it down because it takes so much focus, and at this point in my life, my knitting needs to be somewhat focused, but somewhat able to do other things while making and unwind and like therapeutic knitting, and that one just isn't. So I'm keeping it on the needles because it'd be a shame to take it out. It's going to be like a sculptural work of art whenever it does get done. So I'm happy to have it linger, and I'm content with that. It's not like making me feel unproductive or like not fulfilled because I'm not working on it. It's just like I feel like it's almost an experiment and like playing with a technique, and whenever I want to like play with that technique again, I can come back to it. So that's one that's like not causing me any stress. Like there are certain projects where I'm like, I just want to get it done, but that one is, I'm okay with it. The next one, which like I love making, like truly love doing, is the trifle wrap. So this one is so sweet. It is going to be a shawl kind of piece, like a big wrap, cozy wrap. And honestly, it's just so pretty. And when I pull it out, it's like, why aren't you working on this? And it's only because I started that test knit and some other things, and it just got set aside. But this makes me so happy to look at. I am finding that my stitch count and something is happening with the eyelets, or when I'm doing certain rows, like I'm just missing a stitch every once in a while, so I have to like really be mindful when I'm working on this one, which again kind of goes back to why Dragon Lore is on hold. This one is just, you have to be focused, more focused than the Anthology Throw, which is the other Helen Stewart pattern I've finished, because of all the eyelets, and you have to make the chevron shape, right? So there's a lot of just little things you have to be doing along the way in order to create that. But I really like the stitch markers I'm using for this one, and it brings me a lot of joy whenever I pick it up. So it's gonna be probably when I finish the sweater, this might be the thing I just focus on making my main project again, because what I always like to do is have a main project each month and then a very easy travel project each month, or something that's evening knitting, right? So that's my thought process when I'm doing this. And so this is being held with a mohair, a really pretty Emma's white mohair through the whole piece, and then different colors of either mini skeins or scraps or sock yarn that I had left over, all within this really sweet colorway, kind of color scheme I'm creating as I go. So yeah, that lives in this cute little beautiful sister bag that I got at my local yarn store, and it's cute. It fits, like, as this gets bigger I'm gonna have to move it out of here, but for now it's like a little dumpling in here. So trifle wrap, loving it. It's gonna get done. It's just another long-term one because you have to use 24 skeins, so it gets really long. It's a big project. Then number 4 is the Disney socks. So I don't think they've seen these on a podcast because they were a cast on for traveling to Disney. So we went to Disney and we were there for about a week, and we drove there with my dad and brother and my husband. And I wanted to do something inspired by either a ride or attraction in Disney. And so I was really like, had fun with this little stitch marker. I made this. So like this was like a little charm I got in a bath bomb like not too long ago, and I put it on a little light bulb stitch marker, and it honestly makes the cutest stitch marker. And so I was inspired by the colors of the movie, the ocean, and I did this as striping. So this is all little stripes of yarn, and I'm using the Weave in Steven technique to weave those ends in as I go. And so I did this in the car ride, and it was just really fun. So I got actually a really good portion of these done. I did the whole top part of the sock, the heel, and now I'm doing the body of the sock. And same here, now I'm at the point where I think this can, yeah, this is ready for a heel, and then continuing. So, you know, pretty much halfway there at this point. And these are good for traveling, like small, like I took this to the winery last weekend and worked on it because it's one of my only smaller projects right now. And it lives in this cute little Beauty and the Beast bag I got in Disney World. So another project, another bag. If you're wondering where I keep all the projects, is I have all these little cubbies underneath this mantle piece in the front of our house, and I just tuck them in one of those cubbies, and that's kind of where my projects live for now. Some of them, like I have a few in my office, ones I'm working on more consistently. Okay, so that was number 4. Let's go on to number 5. Number 5 is the slip stitch blanket. This is so close. Oh my gosh, the yarn's falling. I dropped a few stitches. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 drop stitches, lives were just saved. So this one has been a long-term project. Started this in around 2020 when I first connected with my local yarn store, Leelanau Fiber. Diane, the owner, created this pattern. and I manipulated a little bit through my mistakes and journey with it. So now it's like my own little creation because I did some things wrong, but I like the way it looks. And you've seen this in lots of podcasts, but it's really close now. I made it so each color repeats twice. So that was like what I kind of decided in the end with some help from my knitting club friends. So the brown repeats here, the green repeats here, pink repeats, and now onto the last color, the white and the gray. So white repeats twice and now gray repeats twice. And you can see like the gray needs to be the same length as all these. So I'm at about 6 repeats right now, and I need 9. So I'm like 3 or 4 rows away from getting it completely done, and I'm so excited. So this, like, I'm hoping by beginning of April it's done. It's off the needles, and I'm really excited about it because it really matches with, as you can see behind me, it matches with my interior of our house, and it's so soft, and it's just been a journey project, and I feel like when it's done, it's just gonna be the best blanket to use, and has such a purpose. So it was a very intentional make, and I'm okay with the fact that it took 4 years. I think that's the beauty of working on a blanket. It's just you enjoy the process of doing. Let's see. So that was the slip stitch blanket number 5. The next project is Let's Dance sweater. This is the test knit I signed up for, and I did not complete it by the deadline. And the designer was okay with it. She's super sweet, and knew that it was just, I'm a slow knitter and I've never done cables before like this. But I gave her a lot of great feedback on all the things, and I finished the the back panel, and this is the front panel. So I love it. I just really am happy with it, and because it is one of those ones that you have to focus. I can work on it when I'm watching TV and such, but I haven't picked it up in a minute, like probably 3 or 4 weeks now. Because I needed reset with so I worked on the blanket to kind of reset my mind, and so now I'm at the point where I think I'm gonna pick this up this evening and work on it while I'm in knitting club, because I think what's important to me is I don't want it to get put aside for too long, because this one I really do want to get done by like end of April, May. And I know myself, if I let it sit for too long, it'll intimidate me to pick back up like some of the other ones. And this one is a priority to me, unlike some of the other projects that are more like experiments and trying new things. So, I really only have time to work on knitting in the evenings and maybe for a few hours during the day for like break time in between working on things and teaching. So that's why I have so many projects, and I just work on them here and there. Okay, so that was the Let's Dance sweater. The next thing is the Jelly Roll blanket, which is a long-term blanket project. And to be honest, I like the process of doing this blanket, and I think it's a great way to use your scraps. But it's one of those ones where I think down the line I'm gonna have to decide if I want to focus on this blanket or other blankets that I have interest in. And I do like the way this looks. So the way this works is it's called the Jelly Roll because in the quilting world, a Jelly Roll quilt was a very popular quilting pattern. And in the knitter world, they decided, in concept with how you quilt all these strips of scrap fabric or fabrics you have together, you could do the same thing with all your little yarns. So when I look at it, I do think it's worth continuing. It's just gonna be one of those really slow processes. So I think it's okay if this is like a 10-year I know it sounds insane, like a 10-year project, but it can just always be something I add a little bit to over time. Because we know that knitting is a slow making piece. And what I love about this is any fingering weight yarn I have in stash, which I have a ton, I have enough yarn to make this right now. And I can just always keep adding to it. And I do really like the colors, and it's a fun process of making. It's simple, it's relaxing. And once I have this other blanket done, maybe I would pick this one up and focus on it only, but there is a crochet blanket that I want to start. So again, temptation to start something new is a real issue for me. But it's so cute when you see it all together. It's like, it's a little roll of joy, little jelly roll. And it lives in my own project bag, my Alyssa Brand embroidery bags, which I am going to be doing like a drop or a website update with these. Some changes I've made to the design are I'm now using a thicker batting so the bag holds its shape more. It's just something you learn as you do making. And I've also done some different material explorations with this, but I love the way this bag is. And honestly, I kind of love the squishy feel of this one, that it's not as structured, because with knitting, sometimes you need to shove a ton of stuff in it. So this bag is really something that brings me joy and I love, and it has my name embroidered on it because I did that for myself. And then a cute little alpaca with a little bag of yarn on it. So yeah, that one is number 7. We're getting to the end of the list. Then I frogged a pair of socks that I started because I was looking at them and I was like, nope, I should have done a contrasting heel. So I took them apart. So those socks are no longer. I think that's important to know for yourself. If you're not loving it, start something else, because your time is valuable and you only have so much time to knit and work on these things. So if you're not loving it, it's okay. Next thing is the Monet triangular shawl. So this was something I picked up because I just wanted something really simple to work on in between all the other fun things I was doing. And it feels awesome. I forget what mohair I'm holding with this. Yes, I do know. So it was Bella Filato Studios, who's a Traverse City dyer. And I've met her at the Sleeping Bear Fiber Retreats, and she's a super sweet person. She dyed this beautiful mohair, and I'm holding it with the Monet Emma's Yarn colorway. So as you can see, the two of them together is really pretty. And this lives in this little Black Pearl Magic bag, which honestly I was only using for notions, and it's so much better for yarn, like for 2 skein projects, because the 2 skeins fit in it perfectly, 1 and 2. And I am really happy with the way it's coming together. It's very soft, like the feeling of it is so soft and squishy, and then the gauge is like perfect, so the needle size is really good. And it's going to be just like, I'll just cast it off whenever I feel it's done. Right now it's still not really big enough to go around. I'm unfortunately in the middle of the row, but it's not really big enough to go around my neck enough right now. I mean, it could go around my neck, but it's not long enough to like get tied together for the little like handkerchief look I want. But we're getting close. So this is just going to be really sweet. And I mean, I could go until I run out of yarn, or I could use the yarn for socks or something else, or scrappy little bits. So this is just a fun project. It's like a pickup here and there. Also another one like the socks that's good to travel with, because I know the pattern so well by now, and it's just a fun, easy process knit, and the colors are lovely. So it lives in this cute little bag, And it goes in the pile of projects. Next would be the West Knits shawl. So this was something I casted on in October, so a while ago now. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but you've seen it in videos. And when I pull it out, and it's so fun to do this because I haven't pulled these out of the bags in a while or taken the time to like give myself the opportunity to look at these, but this is really cool. And I love Stephen West, and this is my first ever Stephen West project that I've started. And I just think it's really neat and needs to be done. So it will get picked up at some point. I love how I just say some point, like life is just, but it will. I love the colors. I think it's gonna be really neat. It's a very tedious knit. There's a lot of things you have to pay attention to. The part I'm at now is really not that bad, but I know myself, and the next steps are intimidating techniques that I really have to focus and learn. So it's one of those ones that can be picked up later and worked on, and I'm okay if this takes forever to make, like years. It will be done at some point, and I think it'll be such a cool piece and worth doing. So yay. And it lives in this cute little Stephen West Joji & Co bag. So Joji & Co is a bag design by Joji & Co. And I just love this project bag. So the next project and the final one that I have going on is the Emotional Support Chicken. So you've probably seen it on Ravelry. It's a very popular pattern right now. A lot of people have knit it in all different fun colors, a lot of scrap yarns, and I'm doing like all sorts of fun rainbowy colors. And I started with the tail part of it, I guess you call, and I don't think it's gonna take me too long to do. We can look back and laugh if it's a lingering project, but I looked through all the instructions and I really think it's something I could get done in a month compared to all the other things I have going on. So yeah, it lives in this cute little Joji & Co bag. And I like this bag because you can put all your pins on it. And I just pulled this out of my closet as a way to kind of like bring out a bag I haven't used in a while. It's like a really cool rose gold. I don't always love the way the quality of the leather feels, because not because the leather has anything wrong with it, just because it's the rose gold coating. It has kind of this scratchier feel to the bag. But it's a very pretty looking bag, as you can see. So it's fun to put all like your little pins on it as well. So yeah, that is the last project. My plans this month were to finish, for March, were to finish the slip stitch blanket. So I'm really close on that. I wanted to cast on the crochet blanket after I finished this blanket, but I'm okay if that gets pushed back, because it would be nice to just maybe get some of these other things done, like the sweater, before I start that. I think that would be a good priority. And then the Emotional Support Chicken, I wanted to cast that on. That was a goal. So seems like I did a pretty nice job. Next month, goal is to finish the chicken, get the front panel of the Let's Dance done, so then I'll have the back panel and the front panel done and only the sleeves to work on for like May. And then I wanted to start the Mystery Gnome, which is a Sarah Shira project. When I'm looking at all these projects I have, it would almost be a shame to start something new because these just fall by the wayside. But because the gnome is a really small project, I maybe will be okay with starting it, because I really love doing her knit-alongs. And I did the adorable snow, so it was like a snow gnome over Christmas holiday, if you remember, and I finished it really quickly, and it was just fun and an instant gratification project. So that's why I really want to participate, and I think I just will. The last thing that I have plans for is making my mom a set of knitted knockers, and because she just had surgery, and she would love to have a pair of those. So that's the only other thing I want to start at some point for her. And yeah, I hope that you all continue to enjoy your making. It's okay if you have a lot of projects going on. I think as long as you're happy with what you're doing, that's all that matters. And don't be afraid to start something new and enjoy the process. I forgot to mention what hat I'm wearing. This is yarn from Loopy Mango. It was super fun to make. It took me like no time, like maybe a day or two to finish. And it's called the Her Beanie. And it's just got a really fun shape to it, and it makes me happy when I wear it. And I definitely recommend buying from them, because if you're a new knitter, you can finish something quickly. If you've been knitting for a long time and you just need to feel like you're getting something off the needles, this one is just such a fun project. It's called the Her Beanie by Pearl Soho, and it just takes one ball of their Merino number 5, I think it's called. So yeah, definitely worth it. All right, talk soon. Thanks for watching.